Hello, and welcome to another pop up surprise. I didn't think I was going to do it today, edition of Tarot for Our Times. Now, last night when I ended, it took about who might have done it, the shooter. It took a surprise hit, but maybe not so much when I thought about it later. That instead of this being sort of like it goes back to Lee Harvey Oswald and John Wilkes Booth about the lone fanatic that shoots an important figure, and so a lot of people, and yours truly, automatically assume that might be true. But when I came across the whole thing, like, oh, this could be a hit. Now, I presented possibilities. Oh, was it Trump? Was it Putin? Was it this? Was it that? Or was it a personal thing that might really surprise us? That there is no. So I honestly didn't know. So I also said that I was not going to be watching any of my colleagues until I did this. So when I opened up the YouTube this morning, I did go to a couple. I went to one reader who I won't mention. I don't watch her very often, but she was saying, inside job, and her cards were, pretty much on target with that. And I thought, that's highly possible. See, with me, I need to have more truth, but this is always speculation on our part for entertainment purposes only. So I thought, that's interesting. And then I saw Marianne from Australia revealing light tarot. And I've always found her to be very much the voice of reason in an esoteric kind of way, if that makes any sense. At any rate, she was saying she was kind of leaning towards the Russians and saying and throwing a lot of doubt on that this was an inside job. So, and I guess because of her background in investigative journalism, maybe I found her more credible when maybe the other one is just woo woo. So, but I don't know. So, let's see. So, okay, so that was pretty much it. I did make some notes, so I cover all the bases here. So, I did see a number of possibilities. Now, I also was wondering, because I had no idea of the where they were suspect wise, and there hadn't been anybody this morning, but the FBI did release this person on video. They in case, like Luigi, in case anybody should happen to see him. And I was right in that he was a young man. Now, I have to say this. There may be some people would watch my video last night and say, oh, that girl watches too many film noirs and detective stories and all this stuff, the gangster movies. But the thing is that hitmen, if they're smart and they're really, really, very good at what they do, they are not going to look like they do in the movies. They are not going to be wearing a raincoat and fedora or some shiny suit or a like leather jacket looking macho, all this sort of thing. They're not going to look anything like they do in the movies from the 1930s on to today. They're probably going to look like because they said this guy looked like a college kid. And I thought, yeah, what better to be? Well, I think he was up on a high thing, but with low security, what better person to be kind of slithering around to not draw any attention? So that's what they do. So let's see. So I do. So let's see if I got everything here. Yes. So they got him on security footage. I think it's like Luigi. I was getting a vibe like Luigi. He's going to be out there for a day or so, and then somebody in, say, let's say, Wisconsin, in some little town where there's a lot of farms around, someone's going to see him in a diner or someplace like a diner, a laundromat, or something like that. They're going to say, aha, I recognize that guy. So they will contact the FBI or law enforcement. So I feel as though it could be that. Now, there's a speculation that maybe if he sees shaving quite a few years off, or, having the death penalty taken off the table, there might be a plea deal and some squealing. But he also knows that his life may not be worth 2 cents. So there's all of this going on. So the big question of this is, because it's a legitimate, it would be crazy with any other administration, but the question is, 7 of Cups. Is this a smokescreen? Is this just something that's very much being thrown out there to divert us from the Epstein case? Now, I did make brief mention. I didn't think I was going to, but somehow that crept into my video last night. It's a very... I don't know the answer. I'm going to look at the cards to see, but it is not beyond belief. It's like nothing they do would surprise me. Now, I happen to know from watching, Michael Cohen, who has said that it's not going to be like Trump sitting at his desk saying, okay, get Louis and we're going to bada bing, bada boom. This guy's got to go. He's dispensable. So it's not like that. It's like the way he operates, like, gee, I wish there's something somebody could do about this problem, and maybe throw a little nuggets. Although with the mental health stuff going on, I don't know how much help, but it could be something's got to be done. Something's got to be big. And maybe there's always someone that could be thrown under the bus, because he really doesn't care about anyone living or dying. So for entertainment purposes only, I'm saying this is one of the many possibilities. Not going to say it's the gospel truth. And I think that with something like this, it's the wisest thing to do is to say, how possible is this? And so that's basically what I'm going to ask. So I want to see, if Russia's involved, because as I've been saying, as far as the whole Russia thing has been going with Epstein, is that with the Russian mob and oligarchs, impossible as Taco maybe having been an asset since the 1980s, one has to ask if this with Epstein and Russians all over Mar-a-Lago and all this kind of stuff, if there's a big tie-in. And this is what I'm saying, is this part of the big picture? So I want to see if Russia's involved, and let's see if it's an inside job, because no one does hits and has the suspect get away better than Russia. Well, maybe if the guy gets caught too early, maybe Putin is kind of slipping there, even with his KGB experience. So I just want to see if there's a connection with Russia and see if it leads into an inside job, or if I need to do another reading with that. So, okay, let's begin. Okay, so the indicator card is, I feel like I just need to give it another quickie here. Inside card, the indicator card here is, the 5 of Cups. The Minor Arcana Death card. So this is the grieving and mourning and delving way into the past at a very, and not learning from the past, but kind of being stuck in it and not being able to move on. Dwelling on the three cups of yesterday, and not taking a look to the more optimistic two standing up that could hold the emotional key. So, this is going back to Epstein, but we're going to do it with the Russian flavor, is that there's so much information coming fast, all these women coming out of the woodwork. It's almost like, so what if I signed one of those agreements? Yes, so sue me. You'll get the money as fast as you give your money in lawsuits. It could be that, but it could be Russia just. Okay, this is just got to listen to the guides here. Okay, so this could be Putin really regretting putting trust into Trump, and kind of going back and just wondering about how did I get stuck with this guy. So maybe I need to do a shot instead of getting him not yet. Let's take a shot across the bow and get someone who's kind of low on the food chain, but very highly visible. But there is a lot of regret, and let's invade Poland at the same time too, so that maybe it'll take some attention away from us, which has been happening. So let's see. Leading up to this, we have in the before. The Page of Pentacles, wondering if, this is about new beginnings. Maybe wondering, did I put my money on the wrong horse? Because this young fellow is tentatively holding the pentacle. And then we have in the after tarot, we have, the king. The King of Swords. So the day is done. See what messages this bird has to give me, and see what messages I need to send out. And truth and communications, we're going to stick it in the ground for another day and let them try to figure it out. So then the energy around this is Queen of Cups reversed. This is the toxic female energy around all of this. I would say that this goes with the regrets of maybe saying like, okay, we knew the guy was kind of bonkers. We've been taking advantage of him since the 80s. Maybe he's getting a little bit too bonkery, and it is with a very unattractive female energy. And we Russian oligarchs are macho men, and we don't like girly boys. Maybe they're starting to see taco tits as a girly boy energy, that they don't, he just does not know quite what to do with this now. So if all else fails, let's see if we can throw some chaos into the mix. So let's see. With the Radiant Tarot, which I've been shuffling up, let's see what their underlying thoughts are about this, if they were going to do something like this. And, you can say, oh, well, they throw people out of windows and give them poison tea, but a shot like this, which I didn't see it, but people said they're like, they need to go to therapy. That was quite traumatic to see this, because you hit an artery like this and you've got the drama of the blood. Sorry about that, folks. You've got the drama of the blood going all over the place. It's absolutely horrific. So they could be making a very big statement. So if they were to do this, what would the underlining things? Yes. The further breaking up of of alliances that we've had for quite a while now. So let's see if we can divorce the United States from the rest of the world in this chaos, because I'm shudder to think what the rest of the world thinks of us now. Then we have, well, just another nail in their coffin. Especially he knew, I mean, it's like with that KGB experience, I think he knew how Taco Boy would react. And the fact that it was on the eve of 9/11, I don't think it's quite a mistake if they want to make a statement about that. Like America's a big, terrorist target, both foreign and domestic. So just trying to put another nail in that coffin, and maybe trying to make up for their bad plans that have not worked out in the past. So this is looking feasible. So let's end. The thing is, we might want to ask if he knew that it might be that they weren't going to say, oh, we're going to kill Charlie Kirk. No, I don't think it's that, but they could send some breadcrumbs to maybe make the people at top wonder about that. So in opposition of this, we have just another thing to fight off. It's just a whole other thing for chaos, and it's getting harder and harder to beat it back, but to just add just something else to the battle in the opposition. So we're going to go to the past. Then we've got the Hanged Man in reverse. So this is all about the man is ready to get into position to reflect and to see things from a different perspective. But this is in reverse, so this is kind of to stop that. And the different perspective is maybe they want to see. Now, the thing is that maybe the Russians want to divert attention away from Epstein because of maybe their involvement with it, because I really get a strong feeling that there has been Russian involvement with Epstein since he went international. So let's kill off someone that they're going to make into a martyr, very outspoken, like nobody, left of Attila the Hun can really stand the guy, actually. So let's take a beloved person, have them make him into a saint, and it's a distraction. So we are getting distraction, but I think that's a Russian motivation. So let's see. In the present, we have with them is the Eight of Cups in reverse. This is a walking away. It's walking away, but it's going back to kind of like the family, that sort of thing. So, well, I would say in this instance, it's pretty much because you're seeing the picture, the beautiful wife and the beautiful children, and it really is sad to see that. So it's maybe putting people in a sentimental mode about, to further put him into sainthood. It would, about the beautiful family that he left behind, and maybe returning to some fantasy ideals that we have about ours. So that's kind of where things are at now. So going just a bit into the future, we have the Chariot. So this they may have presented themselves with an opportunity to move forward, and I'm going to say move forward in doing what they did in Poland. Yeah, let's distract them. Let's distract them away from Epstein, and let's distract them away from our wanting to revitalize the Soviet Union. So this is where they're headed. Whether it's going to work, I don't know. So maybe we go into a bit in the future. We'll see. So the future of this, again, the Five of Cups in reverse. I would say that in this instance, usually I can see this, it depends on where it falls. A lot of times I can see this as, they've dealt with it. Now it's time to move on. I would say as this case becomes more complex, and I do believe that it will, that I'm going to say that this could be, because sometimes reversals can mean that and more so of them being upright. So there could be some things that come into view if they did it that could put them into more regret, and this is what could stop the Chariot. If more people get hip to this now, I would say that if Marianne is seeing the Russians involved with this, not only is it her intuition coming into play, which I believe a really good investigative reporter needs to have just so they can go in the right direction to get the facts, to dig deep into the facts. So for some reason, I'm finding her a little bit more credible than a lot of them. Not that I'm discrediting, but I'm putting her on a bit of a higher level. So there could be complications that could be coming up that could, I would say, well, what's going to stop this? Yep, it's their regrets and further mistakes that are made as we learn more about this. Now, whether the guy they chose was Russian or American, we don't know. All we know is he was good. He was really good. So in the after tarot, as we go further into the future, weeks, days, weeks from now, we have, of course we do. We have the Six of Pentacles. And the interesting thing about this is in the after, this is the after. Now, let's see. These two guys walking away have done their bidding, and he's paid them off. Now there's someone new. There always has to be, you got to keep, let's see, what's this? Okay. Now there's somebody else with their hand out saying, maybe I know some stuff that could really throw a big monkey wrench into this, or I have more information. So to me, this is the payoff. So what I would say is it never ends, which means with more payoffs, there are more lies. And the more lies you tell, the more lies you have to tell, and you need to scorecard. So this is part of all of that, is the payoff and people coming for more, further complicating this situation. So then even further, oh boy, okay. Interesting, because last night we had the before tower, before the lightning strikes. And I'm saying this is building up to something very, very big. So the lightning hasn't struck. It's in the background. And then with the regular tower, you just have the lightning striking it. So after tarot is that this is the destruction. This is the fire it causes. This is the building, the tower breaking off. And this is I just got a couple of goosebumps, because this is the 24th anniversary of 9/11, I would say by this time of the day, which is now what about 2 o'clock, is that both towers were down. So this is built to, what this is telling me is that this Charlie Kirk thing is almost like a canary in a coal mine. There is something big and destructive happening. Now, whether it's on the scale of a 9/11, I don't know, or the same thing of buildings, planes into buildings, I'm not so sure of this, but this is major, major catastrophic. And I'm starting to see the after tarot as a result or following what the other cards say. So this is real, and that's what I and my colleagues have been saying for a while, is we think something really, really big is coming. So 9/11, I have to say, is a reminder that if you don't pay attention, or those high up in government do not pay attention, something really bad will happen. Now, the question is, will Russia do it? But the thing about that is, they're not the strongest. They're not the strongest anymore. They're in a pretty vulnerable position. I would say that they're sending drones into Poland is biting off a bit more than they can chew, because, now you have NATO with Article 4 ready to go into Article 5. They're locked and loaded and ready to go. So there could be, I'm getting a sense of, there could be a big disaster coming to Russia, and if the breadcrumbs lead back to them, it could be really, really destructive. And then Putin is just, he's gone. He's gone. So let's see. I want to see what's going to happen after that. This is okay. So then after that we have, okay, this makes so much sense. So see, the Fool did something very foolish. Now, upright, it would be okay. It was a little bit too much of a risk, but his little doggy spirit guide is coming to get him. He's really coming to get him. He'll help, like Lassie, like the old Lassie Rin Tin Tid. He's ready to come and get him off the cliff, but this is in reverse. This is going to break off. They're going to fall off the cliff for doing, it's either going to be from, if they're behind this, which I wouldn't be surprised, and Poland, and, doing this, and the others are not going to be able to, China, whatever, they're not going to be able to save them. And I think those countries, they don't want to be on the losing side either, so they may be kind of backing off. So this is something that they could be falling off the cliff because they were foolish, thought it was could have been, oh, well, isn't this clever of us that we send our hitman in for this guy that they're going to make into a martyr, and at the same time we avoid Poland, which is saying, if that's the case, they've bitten off more than they can chew, and there could be a very big disaster coming for them. Okay, so in their hopes and their fears, Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So to me, this is about the guy, the working guy that, or the merchant with the small business. He's been kind of saving and investing the extra money, but he really put it into the wrong stock or bet it on the wrong horse in reverse, losing. So I'm going to say, I think that they were hoping, because they're poorer than piss now, so they were hoping to get a financial gain, and that's where they had all their things stacked with India, China, whatever. But when people get in a losing position, the other countries have a way of backing off. So that is their fear, that there could be some regret on doing this. So now we have the conclusion of this, which is the Two of Wands in reverse. I would say that was them depending on, in trying to show some strength, depending on foreign help for them. And it's in reverse, so they may lose that. If this comes to light, they may be losing some help from other countries that they thought they would be getting. Not because the other countries thought that they were so wrong, but they just don't want to bet on the wrong horse. Since this is the Two of Wands, I would say the next couple of months could be very, very crucial, because I'm seeing this being peeled back like the skin of the onion. So I'm just going to put a clarifier here. If this happened, this has been very diligent, and this is this one upright. This is kind of like they were in the process of doing it, but see, they're so focused on this hasn't failed yet, but they're so focused on the one they're working on. They're not looking at the bigger picture, which leads them to the failure. So I think that's enough of that. But so this is quite credible. And I would say that, I'm asking, I want to do a quickie to see if it could, the possibility of it being an inside job. I just happen to think that this is all tied in together. That if it was an inside job, they had some help with it, because we're not dealing with the most efficient people, if you get the drift of what I'm saying. I would say that, of course, they want to take any opportunity to throw a smoke screen over the Epstein thing, but and it could be a repeat of Butler from last year. Oh, well, it worked last year. Maybe it'll work this year. Well, the thing is that they don't realize is that people have a way of getting wise to some of these things, and that maybe doing it once may work, but I don't think again. And there are enough people out there speculating, calling them on this sort of thing. So I don't know that it's going to work that much, but I really want to see, and I think I'm only going to draw a few cards about it being an inside job, because if it was Russia, it's very likely that there is some tie-in at the very top level. So the planning could have been very complex, because I think the Russians would be better at that than this gaggle of idiots. Oh, I think they love the idea of like, oh, let's have maybe, there's the possibility that maybe they were told that like Butler, this would be like a fake, maybe a fake assassination attempt, and they didn't figure on the guy being killed. But I would guess with some of the more toxic ones, they'd say, well, maybe that's better, because now we have a martyr, and he was kind of disposable. There are other influencers waiting in the wings. But in the meantime, he's young, he's this, he's that. We can make him into a big martyr. See, I don't know. There's so many possibilities with this. It could be this for entertainment purposes only, or not. Who knows? Who knows? It's I don't know if it's going to be like the Kennedy assassination where it's going to take like over 50. Oh, God, is it going to be 60? It was 60 years last, take 50, 60 years to start untangling that one. So it's very hard to tell. So I want to do just a few cards that I might build on and see about if this was an inside job, just for the hell of it, and see if it maybe gives me a little bit more insight, because I just see such an intertwine with Russia that may be kind of a moot question. Okay, so the indicator card here, it is for Pentacles in reverse, which is to, I would say this is really hanging on to a very strong narrative, hanging on to the butler thing. It worked before, it'll work again. Who knows? Maybe they're right. So energetically, we have over this the World, in the hopes of closing up the Epstein question and moving on and making a new beginning. That's the energy. I'm not saying that's the energy that's fueling this. Okay, so leading up to this could be, why? I mean, do you know what? I have seen this card, the Six of Pentacles, coming up in like various different readings. I know Gary and David, the twin tarot guys. I couldn't believe like a lot of the stuff that came up for me last night and they were kind of on the same wavelength, not entirely, but close enough. But these cards, okay, we have the Six of Pentacles. So leading up is, it's kind of like starting to shop. I would say maybe he was shopping. He hasn't put anything in there yet. So he's kind of like interviewing these two guys that had left. Maybe he's trying to see who's going to be the best hitman. And, the getaway car, the getaway person. So they're pondering the payoff of paying off these guys to put the hit. So maybe it wasn't going to be another, we had a couple of fake ones. Why don't we do it for real? So I think maybe make it more real. So that is that possibility, is who are we going to pay off to do this? And then the after tarot is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So in its upright position, he's kind of balanced off the book, paid off the merchants. Everything's fine. They're going off to sea, never to be seen again. So there could be something of an imbalance of the payments, like so much when you do it, so much when you're done. And maybe that hasn't been fulfilled. Now, I will say this, for stuff like this, if this is true, Taco will be nowhere near it. Even if it's got his fingerprint, no, he will have worn, let's just say he will have worn gloves. So he always has other people doing the dirty work. So it's kind of like the payoff person. He may not have been able to get the funds to get them running on their way. So that could be a complication that could be very interesting. So I just want to throw a couple of more cards on this. See if there's any conclusion, or if they were involved with the Russians. Okay, so Um, to me, this is kind of like there are too many loose ends. It's like, how are we, how do we know these people are not going to blab, whatever. So, okay, you got to pay them a lot. Maybe they didn't get the final one. In this, for entertainment only, potential scenario. So let's see what we've got here. We've got King of Swords in reverse. The aspect of Taco Tits. He's just been lying his ass off about, let's put the blame on the Democrats. Let's put the... First of all, that's not the MO of progressives. It just isn't. And sometimes if you want to point to the far left, they are so far removed from the Bernie Sanders, types of people that they're practically right-wingers anyway, because they're so... I mean, when these people go so far extreme, they kind of have a common meeting ground. So he's going to blame he's lying about who did it. See, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. I would say when I'm done uploading this thing, there could be more news coming out about maybe they caught the guy or they've identified the guy that they caught on camera, which I would say that that whole thing of the professionalism might have slipped a little bit, unless it could be the guy is in big time disguise too. So knowing there would be cameras. So there's that aspect of it. Page of Wands. Now here it comes back to this young guy, probably the doer. There's something about this that may not be over, and I'm not going to necessarily say that he's going to kill someone else, not necessarily, but he may be asking, okay, what's next? Waiting for the next instructions, which could be, for the pay, have to do with the payoff and everything. So then that's interesting. Why is he not done? Then we have the Tower in reverse, and this is not anything like that after Tarot Tower, but it's like a bunch of little catastrophes or mistakes that will be made in the planning of this out that this guy might be a bit concerned about. So it'll be making the big mistakes to lead to the bigger tower. Then on top of, I think I feel like I need to pull another after for this to clarify it. Okay. So we have the Hanged Man here, and taking the pause. There's a female energy that's giving him water and helping him to gain a new perspective on this. So this could be whoever planned this, whether in the administration, could be getting some kind of information to see it from another perspective. Now, whether they're going to be, could be that getting someone to talk with the truth coming out, giving them maybe a sweet deal. So, as I say, these are only the possibilities of, what could happen. I'm just going to do another super duper quick one to see if because this does have the smell of a hit. I just want to see if if some of the powers here that be have been in cahoots with the Russians. So I'm going to just draw a few cards and see. I'll do it with the big deck and see if that's another very, as I'm saying, very likely scenario. I don't know for sure, but I'm just going to say that the possibilities seem to be growing bigger. But let us see. There's also the whole thing about Kirk maybe he wanted the Epstein list release, then he didn't. And sometimes when people do that, that can mean, like when they seem to surrender, that can be very scary. Like, I'm going to step back, give them a false sense of security, and then I'm going to spill the beans. So I think that it was, they did not, whether it's the Russians, this administration, they didn't know exactly what he was going to do. So maybe they figured they needed a scapegoat. So he's a good one, because that kills a couple of birds with one stone. He's expendable as the martyr, and that's a way to keep his mouth shut. So let's see what we got here. So we have, so the question is this Russia and U.S. thing all tied together? Okay, so then we have the Knight of Swords. This is somebody charging through with the truth. Like, the truth will be told at some point. The truth will come out. And this is the knight in shining armor. There could be someone who's going to say, I'm going to save America. The truth will come out. This is kind of pointing to a yes. Then the sun. I've been waiting for, here comes the sun. That if there is a collusion, the truth comes out, it's going to come out bright and epic. We are in eclipse season. It may not be a 50-year deal like the Kennedy stuff, 60 years, whatever. It may be happening sooner. And look, we've got all these planets. I would say it might be best to check with Andre Hogarth or some of the other astrologers to see where the planet is. But this sun is shining bright. So I think we may be knowing sooner than we think. And then let's see what we have finally. The Four of Cups. There will still be those that will not, that even if it's right in their face, they will we won't be able to see the obvious, because this is the hardcore magas, because they're too emotionally invested and it will topple their little world. So there will be some magas that'll still got a maga. Okay, then we have finally the swords that we thought were going to be injected into our back before, kind of like, again, and then, with so many things with the history of our country, that in the nick of time, those will not land. They will go in the opposite direction, and that there could be healing. So this is a very optimistic, and I would say with the major arcana here, and a biggie, that, it looks like it's very possible that there is a U.S. Russia kind of collusion with this, but the truth will come out. And if that's what it is, we're going to know about it, and that it could be the saving thing. So as I say, I'm presenting the possibilities. I'm not putting them down as gospel, but I'm saying they're very, very credible, and credible enough to not pronounce anybody guilty like they are with the Democrats, but enough of one to say we need to investigate. This is credible enough. We need to investigate. So it'll be interesting. So as I say, every reading I've done for a while, it's like all the roads lead back to Epstein. So with that, I'll sign off, and I'm going to put this out in a couple of hours. So enough time for dinner. Okay, so I will see you later. Bye-bye.